Hello everyone, it's Hannah from Story Kids. Welcome back. I am so happy to have you here. If you've missed any of our recent episodes, they are right down below this video, and also down there is the link to our new Facebook page. You can tell your parents to look at that if you'd like to get notifications when a new episode is posted. So, now let's jump into today's story. Today, I want you to think about your favorite kind of music because we're going to be reading Zin Zin Zin, a Violin by Lloyd Moss, illustrated by Marjorie Priceman. And this is a Caldecott Honor Book. I think we talked about the Caldecott Awards, before on this channel. But that means it's a pretty good book with pretty good illustrations. Should we begin? So, I don't know how old all of you guys are, but I know that some people in elementary school start taking instruments, like orchestra instruments, string instruments, and also band instruments, woodwind instruments, or maybe even drums, or guitar, or piano, or something like that. So, no matter what instrument you play, or if you sing, or even if you don't play an instrument at all, but you like some sort of music, I think you'll like this book. So if you like music, stick around. Here we go. Zin, 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 a violin. And look at that. We have some drums as a backdrop. How cool. And you can also pay attention to the drawings because they're in a really cool sort of sketch style. I really like them. Here we go. With the mournful moan and silken tone, itself alone comes one trombone. Gliding, sliding, high notes go low. One trombone is playing solo. What does a trombone sound like? I think it sounds sort of like wah, or wah, 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 like that. You can do the instrument sounds along with me if you'd like. Okay, next a trumpet comes along and sings and stings its swinging song. It joins trombone no more alone, and one and two-o, they're a duo. So one person playing an instrument is a solo, two is a duo, or sometimes that's called a duet. What does a trumpet sound like to you? It sounds like something like that. I wonder what instrument will be next. Fine French horn, its valves all oiled, bright and brassy, loops all coiled. Golden yellow joined its fellows, two now three-o, what a trio! So there's the trombonist, the trumpet player, and the French horn. I'm not really sure what a French horn sounds like. I guess it sounds sort of like doo, 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 doo. I don't know. That was a pretty bad impression of a French horn. But maybe one of you plays a French horn. You can tell me what it sounds like. Now, a mellow friend, the cello, neck extended, bows a hello. End pin set up on the floor. It makes a quartet. That's four. So one is a solo, two is a duo, three is a trio, and four is a quartet. Like quarter, because a quarter is 1/4 of $1. A cello sounds sort of like, well, it's a string instrument, and it sounds sort of like wah, 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 like that. I think I have a career in voice instrument music. What do you think? Okay, I wonder what's next. And soaring high and moving in with zin, 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 a violin. Stroking strings that come alive, now quintet. Let's count them. 5. So 5 musicians is a quintet. And a violin sounds sort of like, I play the violin. This shouldn't be so hard for me. It sounds like it's way up high in the instruments. If you've ever heard Vivaldi's Four Seasons, spring is played largely on a violin. That's one of my favorite pieces of music. Okay, let's see who's next. Flute that sends our soul a shiver, flute that slender silver sliver, a place among the set it picks to make a young sextet. That's 6. So here's a flute. A flute sounds sort of like that, except much prettier than what I just did. And after our quintet, which is 5, comes sextet, which is 6 musicians all playing together. Okay, here we go. Number 7. With steely keys that softly click, its breezy notes so darkly slick, a sleek black woody clarinet is number 7, now septet. So 7 musicians are a septet. I'm going to do a really bad impression of the clarinet. My mom used to play the clarinet. It sounds sort of like... That's not at all what it sounds like. This is just a really long story of me doing bad instrument impressions. Gleeful, bleeding, sobbing, pleading, through its throbbing double reading. That's a tongue twister. Oboe, please don't hesitate. Come, make it an octet. That's 8. So 8 musicians are an octet, like octagon. And an oboe, I'm not even going to try. But an oboe sort of sounds like a duck. And there's a piece of music that's called Peter and the Wolf by Tchaikovsky. Uh-oh, there's a truck. That's a very loud truck. That truck could be an instrument. And in Peter and the Wolf, it's sort of a story told through all the different instruments, and all the instruments play different animals. And in fact, the oboe plays the duck. So there you go. That's a cool fact. That lazy clown, the big bassoon, he plays low down. We're laughing soon. Here, Grumpy, get your place in line and give us a nonette. That's 9. So 9 musicians make a nonette. And a bassoon, like they said, is low. And it plays the grandpa in Peter and the Wolf. Peter, I'm pretty sure, is the French horn. And the flute is a bird. And I have to remember some of the others. Is Peter the French horn, or is the wolf the French horn? I haven't listened to it in a while. I'll get back to you on that one. One of them is the French horn. Okay, here we go. The harp descends with angels' wings, a heaven's blend through magic strings. And when it joins the others then, behold, a chamber group of 10. So 10 or more musicians make a chamber group. And the harp, this one I think I can do. It sounds sort of like... And you'll often hear it played to symbolize like angels or heaven or a dream. It sounds very magical. So there you go. The orchestra comes in the hall. They're on the stage. We see them all. The cello, harp, and clarinet. The trumpet, who we've also met. The oboe, flute, and big bassoon, all eager to get started soon. Trombone, French horn, and violin, all poised and ready. Now, begin! So when they're all playing together with the conductor on a stage, they're an orchestra. Maybe some of you are an orchestra. And when there's an orchestra without string instruments, that's called a band. When it's just instruments like the clarinet, the flute, the bassoon, the French horn, the trumpet, the trombone, all of those, the oboe, that's a band. The strings all soar, the reeds implore, the brasses roar with notes galore. It's music that we all adore. It's what we go to concerts for. Have you ever been to a concert? So this could be something cool to teach you. Strings include the violin, viola, cello, and bass, and also harp, and guitar, and banjo, and lots of the lute, lots of things like that. The reeds up here are the flute, the clarinet, the bassoon, the oboe, and maybe a couple more. And those are all instruments that you make noise with by blowing into a little wooden reed. That's why it's called a reed. And then the brasses, trumpet, trombone, French horn, a saxophone. Those are all brasses because they're made out of brass, as you can see. And then there's percussion, which is drums and the xylophone and bells and all things like that. So there are lots of different kinds of instruments. And then the piano is sort of on its own, I think. It might be considered a string instrument because technically it has strings sort of inside of it that make the sound, but I think it's sort of in its own category. And then voice, of course. Okay, here, I'm rambling. Let's finish the story. The minutes fly, the music ends, and so goodbye to our new friends. But when they've bowed and left the floor, if we clap loud and shout encore, they may come out and play once more. This book didn't even talk about the drummer, but we got to hear a great drummer because my neighbor plays the drums. And that would give us great delight before we say a late good night. The end. And for an added fun challenge, you can go back and rewatch this video and look for these animals. The dog, the cat, and the other cat, I guess. These animals appear, I think, on every page of the book. So that could be a fun scavenger hunt for you to go back and look for them. There's also a mouse. Is the mouse on that page? Oh yeah, there's the mouse. Right there. So you get added bonus points from me if you can go back and find the two cats, the dog, and the mouse on every page. I'll show you. So there some of them are. There's the mouse. And they sort of come in one by one, and it's really cool. It's a fun scavenger hunt. So, I hope you enjoyed Zin Zin Zin, a violin. I hope you learned lots about music. I am not a professional musician, and so some of the things that I told you about music might not be 100% correct. However, I am pretty sure that most of what I told you was right. And I really love music. This book focused more on sort of classical music, like orchestra music that you would hear in a concert where everyone's wearing a nice suit and everything. But there are so many different types of music. There's pop music, which I'm sure a lot of you listen to. There's music from musicals or movies. There's jazz music, which is really fun. There's classical, as I told you. There's rock and roll music. There's disco music. There's electric EDM, electric dance music. There are so many different kinds of music. So I'm sure that you can find one that you really like. And the cool thing is that all music is pretty much made from the same set of instruments. So no matter what sort of music you like, you can learn so much about basically any kind of music by learning a little bit about instruments and what sounds they make and why they make those sounds. So, on a side note, if you have time and you want to listen to a cool musical story, Peter and the Wolf, as I told you, is really, really cool. And you can sort of give yourself another scavenger hunt, just like the animals, and try to listen and figure out what the different instruments are, or even look it up. And teach your ears what different instruments sound like. I'm sure you'll hear the bassoon, grandpa, and all those things. So I really liked that one when I was younger, because it's not a boring, really long piece of classical music. It's like watching a movie, except the movie, instead of in your eyes, is in your ears. And if you don't have time for that, or you just don't feel like it, I hope you enjoyed Zin Zin Zin, a Violin. I had a lot of fun reading it to you, and now that my school is officially over, I hope I can bring you Story Kids more often, because I love getting to talk to you guys. Until next time, I'm Hannah from Story Kids. Bye-bye, everyone. Keep on reading.